So yeah, I'm Tim Fleming, founder of Future Visual and SIP VR. And I'm here today to tell you about why I think virtual reality offers an incredible opportunity for the retail sector. And just to give you a little bit of background about myself, I've always loved creating big, powerful visual moments that have been great for individuals and for groups. And because that was part of my remit, I ended up being show director for Fatboy Slim for about 10 years, which meant I got to build, well, 600 square meter LED walls that were as big as football stadiums, which was pretty good fun. Also got to play with some quite high-end tech. So there's Scanning Norman. So we've got 303 Norman, Smiley Robin Norman, my favorite, the Joker Norman. And what this led to was, these great experiences for a lot of people. And I think VR, has the ability to do the same. Now, when I was on the road doing touring in 2007, like a lot of you, I would have seen the iPhone come out and thought, that's pretty interesting. But I wasn't interested in it because Apple had developed a phone. I was interested in it because all of a sudden we had video in our pockets. We had this kind of change in the use of a format. And here we are 10 years later, and we've got the YouTube generation and the ability for brands and individuals to broadcast directly to their audience. This is a big shift, and it's happened inside 10 years. Then in 2013, DK1 came along, and I thought, that's really interesting. If your remit is creating strong, powerful experiences for people, VR is pretty good. So how VR differs and how I think it's more transformative even than the iPhone is that it has the factor called presence. You can put people in environments and situations other than the ones they are actually in, and they will believe they're there. We're at Wired. I presume everyone's tried VR. In fact, has anyone not tried VR? Okay, good, I thought so. So 2016 has been a big year for VR. We've had a lot of hype around VR. I personally think we're past the 3D TV moment. That's kind of my litmus test for how the industry's doing. When you see Google and Facebook putting the investment that they're putting in, and also declaring that it's a big part of their company strategy, and that they're seeing it as the next major computing platform. Got to take that with a pinch of salt, but it's a big commitment. And we're like I say, we're through that 3D TV moment. So this year, at the sort of the end of the hype train, but really, at the beginning, we're now at ground zero for VR as a consumer-facing tool. And we've had the HTC Vive come out, the Oculus CV1, and the Sony PSVR. The Sony PSVR may be that kind of gateway drug system where people buy it because, it's just a gaming console, and the 12, 13, 14-year-old kids will get it for Christmas, and then mum and dad try it and go, this is quite cool, this is quite useful, this technology. We've also, in the last 2 weeks, had Google with the Daydream system come out, and HTC Vive have brought out this accessory which makes the Vive wireless, which is pretty important. But the elephant in the room with VR is, well, we can create these amazing experiences, but if we can't get VR to people, what's the point? So with Google Daydream and obviously the mobile infrastructure, that potentially could go some way to addressing that system. But we're in this sort of interesting inflection point of well, we know it's amazing, but how do we actually get it to people? So this is a clip recently from the Oculus Connect conference, and this shows how social VR and retail could work. This film is from Mark Zuckerberg's POV, and he's talking to his colleagues Lucy and Michael, who are at different geolocations around the world. If we can play this film.
I can look surprised. Oh. I can look confused.
How about I take us to the bottom of the ocean?
Sounds good. All right.
Whoa.
Sharks everywhere.
Those are sharks. All right.
And we'd all probably die.
Not in VR.
Oh, phew.
Welcome to Mars.
Well, I don't think I'd want to live here.
How about
here you go.
something completely different?
When I was in school, I actually used to fence.
Ah.
You got another one of these?
I can do one better. Check this out. I will just make my own. Draw this really quick, like this.
Oh,
go like so. And then go like that. All right. I'm good. Ha ha. Swish swish. Clang clang. Ha ha.
All right.
Look what I've got, guys.
VR. Take a look at your wrist.
Whoa. Hey,
Hi.
how's it going? Right one?
Let's do the right side, the one on the right.
So, I think this one might even be better. No, all right, let's stick with this. All right, Facebook. Bam.
There you go.
So you see some pretty incredible things there. And when you think about that in the context of retail, we've been under the water, we've been on Mars, and we've been back to the office. Then Michael's been drawing objects with a pencil that he's then used within the VR ecosystem. And then they've pulled in Mark Zuckerberg's wife via Skype, and they're doing selfies with her while they're avatars in VR. I mean, think about that in a retail context. If any of the creative forces of the big brands start to apply that, it's a very, very interesting and new creative dynamic you can have with your customers. So, VR, like I say, past the 3D TV moment, some arbitrary figures, 170 million estimated users by 2020, 160 billion market by 2020, whatever that means. What we have got hard facts on are that 5 million Google Cardboard headsets have been deployed and 25 million apps have been installed. So it's getting momentum. Now let's look at some applications of how it's actually being used in retail at the moment. We've got some uses by holiday firms like Virgin and Thompson, because it makes a lot of sense. You go into your travel agent and or you could be looking through a brochure, looking at a series of pictures, or maybe watching a film at best of your chosen location. Or you can put a headset on. You're there by the pool, you're there by the beach, you've got a much stronger feeling of what this location actually looks like, and you've got a much stronger urge to buy. And in those stores, they were finding that there was a great uplift of purchasing. So you're really helping seal the sale, which ultimately is what all this is about. When we work in VR at the moment, we don't just want to do things because, oh, it's cool, or it's, everyone's asking about it. It's like, what's the business case we can solve? How can we change and make things better with this new technology? Building obviously makes a lot of sense. You can go and check out houses rather than actually have to go there. And Lowe's in the States have been using quite a nice feature where the assistants in store can help people style the room via an iPad. So what is the state of retail at the moment? Obviously, we've been hearing a lot about retail today, lots of very clever things. From my perspective, the high street hasn't really changed much in 100 years. Obviously, we've got the onslaught of online. Footfall in a lot of cities in the UK is declining, up to 10%, I think, in some cities like Newcastle. And really, it's kind of business as usual. While there's this kind of avalanche of online and mobile happening, how are retailers reacting? And I think they need to react kind of in a much more brave, creative, innovative way. It's like, if you keep trying the same thing, things aren't going to change. And obviously, we're seeing this shift to mobile as well. So I think mobile's growing at 16% a year. So it's really an iceberg moment, isn't it, of what's happening to retail. So what do they need to do? They need to innovate. So last year, we won the Innovate UK Award to partner with John Lewis and have a first look at how VR could help their brand and help their customers. And what we wanted to do is actually find a business case, as I said, that made a difference. And we were lucky enough that at that time, John Lewis were actually releasing their first internally designed range, which was called the Design Project. So the goal with VR was to be able to create an experience with Design Project that was very high quality, but also allowed partners in store to have access to inventory and product that was not physically available. So quite a clear remit. And working with John Lewis was great. We worked with their design team all the way up. They were very detailed. We had to get the window furniture just right, as well as the door handles. And we worked throughout the company, with marketeers, with partners, and they really helped us kind of evangelize VR throughout their organization. Because really, VR in the state it is now, when people try it, if it's good VR, they go, that was much better than I expected. They have a really strong, enjoyable, powerful experience. Oh, so this is what we built with John Lewis. This is SIP. And this is the Design Project in VR. So you start with a kind of fairly aspirational, but not too over the top room, or in all quite a neutral palette with the various products. So that's the Lawson chair, that's a specific light. And then, of course, people can change all the features in real time. So you can change the flooring, you can change the paint on the walls, you can pick up objects, and you can turn them around, you can change the fabrics. And this is the sort of equivalent of getting down on your hands and knees in the showroom and having a good look around the back of the sofa, just to check that the quality is up to spec. And this was a time of day feature. So you could set the time of day and have a look at how color combinations and palettes, worked, whether it was morning or evening. And of course, the wallpaper. So by being in an organization like John Lewis, we had access to their customer hub. As well as the feedback from all the partners, we were able to do this great testing where we could actually watch how people were moving around the space, as well as what they were looking at. And that allowed us to really refine the process. John Lewis UX team were expecting lots of people to go, oh, I feel sick or I feel nauseous. But in our entire trials, we had one person who said, oh, I feel a bit queasy. And 30 seconds later, it was gone. So they were very relieved and surprised on that fact. And I think we've kind of we're getting through this nausea hump. Obviously, some people still feel nauseous, but it's really about how you design your content. And we're very, very aware of that. We always try and design with a business case and just don't make people feel sick or they're not going to come and use it again. So we, following the in-store trials, following the in-house trials, we then went in-store, 2 weekends at Oxford Street, which is a fantastic opportunity. We're on the second floor of Oxford Street. It's the furnishings floor. People who are coming in there have got furnishings on their mind. And it just so happened that there was a VR system there, so we were able to put them in it. And a benefit if you're a kid shopping with your mum or dad in VR is that you can pull shapes and make faces at them, but we consider that a side bonus. And of course, it acted as a real kind of honeypot. People were really interested in it. Partners were able to bring other customers over, say, do you want to try this? And this was the data from it. This was the most interesting piece. We were obviously hoping to kind of get 8 out of 10, 0 being not very good and 10 being very good. And what did you think of this experience? 9.23. Do you like the design project products in VR? 100% yes. Would you like to use this tool to help you design the interior of your house? 9.5. All kind of fantastic data. If you build the content correctly and give people a great experience, it is a format that's ready to deliver. And I've got some, if you roll the next clip, we've got some customer feedback. Tell me what you think of what you've just done.
Absolutely fantastic. Totally changes the way you would shop for furniture or anything. It's amazing.
Oh, amazing. Really amazing. Like, that is the future. Just really impressed.
I think it's a great solution for people who could go into designing their houses. I've just finished, I'm about to finish designing my own new place. But without the technology, we have to go through all the catalogs, and this actually enables people to just sit at home and trying to select different items. Visually, you can actually see what's happening.
Absolutely wicked, really brilliant. I love the fact that you can use it, put different color combinations or different colors or products next to each other, see what they look like, and actually it brings something to life. This is really wicked. If John Lewis were to do something like this and put this in all their stores, it would set them apart from all the competition.
So that's, that's great feedback. It really throws it back to the retailers. It's like, you don't be afraid, you can innovate. And when we start thinking about what VR can do beyond the physical store, we're not constrained by floor plans. What you saw there was a very straight iteration of VR. You don't have to rebuild a room, and we would rather not rebuild the store. You could build kind of gallery spaces, you could put furniture or products on the beach, you can be super, super creative. So, a sort of level-headed or straight way of looking at this is, what we need to do to implement VR is build awareness, engagement, and research, and then convert. But I think the braver, bigger way of looking at it is, let's be empowered and unlimited and create magical experiences that are personalized. And I think in summary, we've all seen the change that online and mobile has brought to the retail space in the last 15 years. And it feels pretty forward-looking to be saying, well, everyone's going to be shopping in VR in 15 years. But we're in 2016, 15 years is 2030. Actually, it kind of sounds bonkers if you think that everyone's not going to be shopping in VR in 2030. If you'd like to talk more about what VR could do for your business, I'd love to talk to you individually. Thanks very much.